Hello and welcome to the Lit Ladies podcast. This will be episode 1 of our new book, The Firekeeper's Daughter. My name is Emily.
I'm Abby.
I'm Miriam.
And I'm Holly.
Who wants to lead discussion today?
I think Miriam should because it's her pick.
That sounded so formal.
Oh wow. I'm loving it. I think it's so good. It had me at the excerpt from the beginning.
Yeah, me too.
That
And,
one page.
I love the way it's written. I love that we're reading it from her perspective. I love the culture in there. I love it. I'm really enjoying it. It's sad.
Oh, really?
There will be spoilers. Should we have to say that?
No.
It's,
Okay.
Yeah.
We're hoping
People
you're
haven't read
reading
it.
along with us.
That's
Yeah,
their
okay,
fault.
okay.
That's their fault.
And that's what we think about that.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. You said it was a little slow for you to start. I didn't.
It was.
For me, I was into it. So
Me too.
it's
I
interesting.
struggled bumping over just the words.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of,
Mhm.
I want to say Native American words
So how?
that I was not familiar with, nor
Right.
how to
Language.
sound it out.
So
Which is
I
a loud
use.
word.
I think I just kind of skim over them if I know. Okay, this
we've
is
seen
their
it before.
town, so I just kind of read it as
Yeah.
their town.
With
Yeah.
the language.
I know. How do we say the
That's
town?
kind of how I
say
do it.
this?
I'm just like, oh, that's the town, and I kind of
So-
don't make my brain work too hard.
Yeah.
The first time I see the word, I always try and pronounce it in my head. As I don't know, I feel like that's me respecting the culture. Just my personal. I'm not knocking you guys if you don't do that, but that's what I feel like. I like doing that, even though I know I have no idea if I'm saying it right. But except the only time I didn't do that was when they had the whole prayer.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I thought that was the song.
It was the song,
The
Amazing
song?
Grace.
Amazing.
Was it
Grace.
Amazing
And I was
Grace?
just
It
like,
was
I was like
Amazing
singing
Grace.
Amazing Grace in my head.
It was
I
Amazing
know,
Grace, yeah.
I know.
Oh, it was.
I do say it in my head. I just don't fight myself over
I don't
it. Does
process
that
If
make
you're
it.
talking
sense?
about the prayer
Yeah.
the aunt said, that's different. Because they play the song or they read the song Amazing
What
Grace,
was it?
but Aunt Teddy did speak a prayer in the beginning. That was not Amazing
A
Grace.
short
it was a
one.
prayer.
Whatever the whole passage was in
I think that was the
that
song.
language. Where
It
I'm
might
trying
have
to-
been the song. It was towards the very
Well,
end
I'm
of
trying to
that.
find where anywhere that it says the language, because that one I don't know why it's kind of weird. Every time I see that word, I'm sounding it out.
Really,
Mm.
you can't
Maybe
stop
it's
yourself.
the language word.
Yes, it is. That's what I'm
Mhm.
looking. I'm just looking
Yeah,
for
that
where it
one's a
says
very
it.
big.
I found it interesting that she is biracial.
Yeah.
I think that adds a
So
whole new
she is
perspective.
half white, and I wish I could wear. We might have to find a way to sound that word out.
There, the
Because there's two
tribe-
different words for it.
I looked up the tribe. It's Ojibwe.
Thank
That's
you,
their tribe.
Ojibwe.
That's kind of how I was saying
And
it.
so I think a lot of her different conflicts is trying to pacify this part of her and to pacify how she called it the new world,
The new normal.
the new normal,
I hate
you know.
that-
And so she had, this, you stay here, this is all my white
Mhm.
stuff, and this is all my Native American stuff, and don't touch and don't cross over.
And I think it's sad that she feels like neither
yeah.
side accepts her for who she is. That's heartbreaking to me.
She
and
said
I'm
that about
sure
her friend Lily.
Yeah,
She
that
did.
They were
the
both-
language.
They were both part of the tribe, but not part of the tribe.
Yeah, her dad isn't even on her birth certificate.
Yeah.
That's so sad to me.
Sorry, did you
I
want to
just,
keep that page?
Yeah, I think that's a really fascinating part of it, because the culture for her, I think she feels like she doesn't fully belong, but she wants it and she
Mhm.
loves it and she respects it. And I think that's sad that she's
There's
I
a
think they
barrier.
kind of went over that with A Woman Is No Man, where when she had come to America, she thought she would just become American.
yeah.
And her family there in America was like, oh no, you'll never be American.
Mhm.
You know, we don't do that. We're going to bring our culture from here to here, and we don't mingle. We don't acclimate. We're separate.
Mhm.
But she didn't feel accepted in that group either.
Right. Well, she didn't really either. She was a little different because she wasn't out in it either, you know, the American culture at all.
Mhm.
And she is living in two worlds here.
She's doing both, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild. I know I was getting confused in the beginning because she was talking about her grandma June, and then her grandma, is it Grand
Yeah.
Mary?
Grand
That she
Mary.
calls
I
her
love
Grand
that.
Mary.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think, okay, which one is her French grandma and which one is her Native American grandma. I figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
but it took me a hot minute.
That does. There's a few things like that do take a minute. You have to kind of keep.
I'm wondering if she purposefully did that. The duality of you're kind of feeling what she's feeling a little bit.
Yeah. And I love Lily's grandma.
Yeah,
she's really cute.
Grandma June.
Yeah. She has some hot takes.
I love her.
I love her.
She's amazing.
Okay, so one of my favorite quotes from her was, "How it begins is how it ends."
Oh, I saw that too,
and that you can apply that to everything.
You can. But is that true? Because I was thinking about that. Because it stuck out to me, and it's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true because even in It Ends With Us, that's not what happened with Atlas or with Ryle, and that's just the book. That's not. But
well, it hasn't happened for her with Jamie either.
So while I liked it and I thought, ooh, when I really thought about it, I thought, no, that's not actually true.
You're right.
But I think that's what people think.
That's what people hope.
That's what people hold marriage to.
I think that's what the hope
we're
is.
in love and everything's goo goo gaga and we're gonna always feel this way, and you don't, you know. So
I did like it.
One of my quotes was at the beginning, and I love it so much. And she says, "When someone dies, everything about them becomes past tense, except for the grief. Grief stays in the present." And that's real. That's like, what a great way to describe grief. And she's not even talking about
her grandma yet.
Yeah, or Lily.
Yeah. I thought when she was talking about her grandma to Jamie, is he Jaime or is he Jamie?
Jamie. Yeah, I say Jamie.
When she's talking to Jamie, and she was talking about her Mary in the past, and she realized it, and it was ouch because she hasn't passed.
No, but kind of, right? Like I love this
lights on,
lights off. I love the way she thinks and she processes things. Even like hanging out with Jamie, and she's like, "I'm not going to be that girl." You know, I just love it so much because it's so real. It's like we all feel that way, right? You want to be that girl.
Well, and she's anti the other girl because that's what happened with her mom and then the situation with Levi. Yeah. So she definitely can't be that girl.
Yeah, what did she say? I'm not going to be that girl because sometimes that girl wins.
Yeah.
Levi's mom. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then it hurt when she was like, what did she was saying about Levi's mom. She was the one who got to take the Firekeeper name.
That's
well, and I'm sure she's jealous a little bit of her brother because of that, because she doesn't have that name or isn't able to have that name, that keeps her out of that world entirely.
Yeah.
Even the money from that was interesting.
The money,
the
casino
money. The casino money. I love that though. That's great. And getting to vote. And she doesn't get to do any of those things. And I don't think the money matters. But it's that fact that she's not even qualified, or she's not included in that.
I feel like that might be something to do with something later on, because they went into detail a little bit about that money and how not everybody gets the same amount.
Doesn't it depend on heritage, like how much?
I believe so, because my sister-in-law Christina has Native American, and it's very much how much.
It's interesting.
You didn't know that?
Well, and you have to prove though too. There has to be a way to
you have to prove it, and you have to prove it thoroughly.
Wow.
Well, because it's a lot of money.
It is. Yeah, it is. Let's see. I marked a few things. I don't know.
I don't mark things when I read.
I actually wrote in my book this time because I was just like,
I know. I know. I love when she said it's hard to explain what it's like being so connected to everyone and everything here, yet feeling that no one ever sees the whole me. And I think there's the crux of her struggle, right? She can't be her whole self in either place because nobody accepts that whole person.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Well, I think a lot of the not being able to accept, so her white family was like, well, no, this guy came, got my gal pregnant, and then left. So they have, that's just one prejudice. I'm sure they have more. But that is one prejudice to definitely if she ever comes and talks about her other side of the family, they're like, yeah, we don't want to hear that.
But don't they also blame her mom for his accident, kind of? That's how I
feel.
So
his family does.
Whoa. Yeah,
his family does.
Yeah.
So there's this almost
oh my goodness.
Romeo-Juliet feud almost.
Yeah.
Where they're not going to get together. Be interesting to see if they bury the hatchet though. Huh? And it was so sad when she found out about her uncle.
Oh, I wondered that too. I'm like, why are they taking her in there?
Sad.
But
like,
I
had no faith in him.
Yeah,
I know. I don't think Jamie's being fake. I think he was undercover, but I think he was being himself.
Yes,
that's
I
just my
agree.
opinion.
And
I know she feels betrayed and angry, but I
Yeah.
think that'll come out. Like, he was being genuine. I think he likes her. I think the chemistry is real, but
dude, I like Jamie.
me
I
too.
like Jamie.
Me too. I do too.
I don't
But
know
how
I
old
feel
is
about
he?
him.
How old is
We
he?
don't know.
He's got to be 20s.
I'm thinking
He's
25.
he might be like one of those 21 Jump Streets. He's an old man. He just looks
Ew,
like he's
no,
18.
He's not.
Because he's already an agent. Already at the point where they're sending him on undercover missions, so he's
But he's not with the FBI. He's with the
He's
Indian
not.
Council,
Mhm.
so they
So
might
maybe
start
it's
younger.
different.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's
I know, I
able
keep
to
wondering.
pass
as
as
high
a
school
junior. A
Yeah,
junior.
see, a junior.
He
Oh,
got
he's a
onto
junior?
the team
Mhm.
even though he's a junior.
Mm-hmm.
So they made a big deal. He must be really, really good for him to just walk in.
I thought.
What?
No,
he's
is
a
he a
senior.
senior?
I am pretty sure he's a
I
senior.
don't know.
Or he's posing as a senior.
In the
I don't know.
No,
No,
I
I
got
think
confused because I thought Jamie was saying my name's Ron Johnson. I was like, what? So I got confused for a second, and then it was
Ron?
actually just the guy that is pretending to be here, his
The
uncle.
uncle.
Hang on.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, I thought this was interesting. I'm wondering what you guys think. She says, even though Jamie's listening without a trace of judgment, I cut myself off. It feels disloyal to say anything more. I'd be revealing the worst parts about someone I love. I never thought about secrets being like a bullseye. The smaller the circle, the bigger the secret.
I like that.
I thought that was really interesting.
that is really interesting.
You know,
Makes your heart hurt a little bit, huh?
yeah,
This book makes my heart hurt in a good way.
I think so too.
So I think that's why it's important to read these kind of books, even if they are hard to read. It educates you in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise if you hadn't read this.
I like that it's not just one-sided, where it's not just about the tribe and it's not just about her, being biracial. It's the family dynamic on this side, and then a family dynamic here, and then we've got culture as well,
It's
and
complex.
then
There's
her
this-
best friend, and her feeling guilty towards her uncle because she believed that he was off the wagon,
Yeah.
he was in an accident,
It's very human, very relatable, and
It
everything
is.
is so complex, and it should be.
I found what I was looking for.
Okay.
Two undercover cops are in the Sioux working on a case. One is posing as a high school science teacher, the other is pretending to be a high school senior, and a hockey player on a junior A team.
Oh, so I knew I saw the word junior.
Okay.
So he's a senior, but it's a junior hockey team.
Got it.
Okay. Well, what do we all think about the blanket night?
I think those should be socially acceptable.
That was cracky.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So the way
kinda
that
wanna do
Aunt
that.
described it, at first I was like, what? But then I was like, I don't know. It's really dark. Really
It actually
morbid
is
and
really
dark.
dark. And you could tell from the aunt's reaction
Yeah.
that it was a big deal. Like, she didn't want to expose her to that.
So I thought it was because she didn't want to expose her to it because it was horrible. But did you read what she said after the fact when they talked about it? And it was because she said something to the effect, and I would have to read it again, that she doesn't really belong.
But she's privileged.
That she's
white and
privileged, and
Oh, she doesn't
can-
want her to see that part of. You're right.
that she's not accepted at that thing. That she doesn't have a right to go and fight for that.
Yeah.
Is how I read it.
Is it?
I didn't get that vibe at all.
I mean, I did. I was
I
like,
didn't. I don't think I
"What?"
got that part.
I think she was saying like the people who have been there know what that is like. Like they know
Well, that those girls
what
were
they're
all rough
going
anyway.
into,
Yeah.
So don't bring yourself into that. Like keep out of it. Part of it was her privilege. She was kind of saying use your privilege to
Yeah,
stay
I
out of
think
the
that's
messy
what-
stuff.
Maybe
I
that's
think
what it
that's-
was, and I just
but
Not
no,
that
I
she
mean, I
wasn't
think
ready
that's
to-
everybody reads it different ways. I think that's the beauty of it, right?
that is.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think my favorite part of the book so far, and it's super sad, but is the funeral, talking about the different days and
Oh
what
my
they
gosh,
stood
too.
for.
I love that. I
I was
marked
like
that.
drawing all over my book.
That's so
And I read it
amazing.
today,
The
so I'm
4
like,
days.
this is
And
so.
that's where you're meaning, huh? That you read it and you're like, this is so beautiful, but so heart wrenching. But it's beautiful. And I was, I think in American culture, whatever that is, we don't deal with grief. We just don't deal with it. We don't know how to deal with it. We don't help. We don't know how to help. We always say it's an individual thing. Is it? Is it really? So for me, same, Holly. I love it so much, and I think
thought
it's
there was a
absolutely
lot
beautiful.
of connections to just all religions.
I
really,
agree. I agree.
What was the first day? I think the first day was the only one that I didn't mark because I wasn't.
I marked. I think
spelled
I
out
marked
to me.
the first day.
The first day was
But the
what
third
you
day-
harmed.
She will mourn her family's loved
Oh,
ones. Each day has a purpose. Today, Lily's first day, she will mourn her family, loved ones, me. She will mourn me. I can't sleep through it. She just wanted to go. I'm like emotional.
I know.
She just wanted to go back to
She
bed.
wanted to, but then she
Then she
realized I
realized-
have to go because
Because
she's
she's-
coming back.
Yeah. So I did do that one.
Then the second day is when you have to atone to what you
Atone.
did, everybody you harmed.
And she hopes Travis atones forever, and I
I
would
thought that
too.
was interesting. It was like on Earth, it's time like our time is different. Like he could be there forever, just atoning for him. And I thought
Kind of reminded me of the idea of purgatory too.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
You know, where you are atoning for the things that you did. You know, I thought that was really kind of interesting how things like that are connected.
I can't imagine the rage she felt knowing Travis was getting a funeral, like with
And
all
they
the
had to
council
do it on the
members.
same day. They had to because it's 4 days out.
And I thought it was interesting that she didn't think her brother would come to Lily's. She thought he'd go to
Because his best
Travis's.
friend. That's his best friend.
Travis
It
was
wasn't his best
I don't
friend,
think
they
it was
were
his
close
best friend.
friends for a long
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked that when she said that Levi chose her.
I know, because he
So
did.
for
I
some
think
reason,
he did.
she felt like
He
he
wouldn't.
wouldn't.
Right, he wouldn't.
He's like a, I don't know, it's kind of like I saw it as the classic pesky little brother, but it's like deep down, you know, they really care about you kind of
his
thing.
little soft spot for his sister.
Even though they're like the same age, so he's not really her little brother.
Then it
I
says
thought
that
he's the older brother.
Older is
By
he older?
3 months.
Oh, older by 3 months. Well,
no, because isn't he still a senior? And
Like-
she's going to
Oh
college.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
The third day
Yeah,
is for
just like-
Lily to learn
I don't
about
know.
the next world.
mhm.
You know.
I thought that was very interesting.
I love all
Like,
of
she
it.
didn't
I'm
just
like
get
eating that
thrown
up.
in,
Me
right?
too, Holly. Me too. I love it so much. And then the fourth day is
She
I
comes
think
back
she
and
comes
says
back
goodbye, and then when the
Mhm.
fire goes out, it's lit.
I really love the fire.
And that will be lit forever.
Like
Yeah.
they couldn't have any negative thoughts, only positive thoughts.
I love that
So
too.
I marked that.
I
I
love
wrote,
that too.
A ceremonial fire is special. You don't roast marshmallows or sing 49er songs at it. Firekeepers ensure that protocols are followed the entire time it burns. No politics, no drinking, and no gossip. Only good thoughts to feed the fire and carry our prayers. And then the uncle, Art must have struck the fire last night upon hearing the news. He will take care of the fire for the 4 nights and 4 days of Lily's journey. At the end of the 4th day, as the fire goes out in this world, it's going to make me cry.
I know.
It is struck in the next world where it will burn without end for Lily. I mean, gosh, to place that kind of importance, and then you can see why it would be so hurtful that she couldn't be a firekeeper.
No
she
kidding.
can't be part of that lineage. I mean, you would
That's
think that.
amazing.
Because she
What
said she
amazing.
loves that her family served their tribe in that way. I love how it's like, to me, I always read it with emphasis. It will burn for Lily. Like your fire burns for you, and that.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Forever and ever. I thought that was really, really, really neat. And then the part when she said that about Travis, like she's like, oh yeah, you know.
And when she confronted his mom, I think that's, well, you realize it's not the mom's fault, but that's how you'd react, right?
Oh,
You'd be
that was
so
so
angry.
real. Oh yeah.
You know, and I love that because it's hard. It's like
That's when fights break out. It's weddings and funerals. Never fail.
Mhm.
I was actually surprised I didn't see him. That's why we left early too. We're like, just in case. We've been to way too many.
But yeah, I thought, you know, it was all very real. Just got a lot of anger. But I was thinking too, like, not only did her best friend get murdered, but she watched it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like, I think Abby mentioned the one thing, we didn't talk much, but it was like the description of that moment, the film. The film.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
the
it
way
was
she wrote it
heartbreaking.
was phenomenal. Like, and that he pointed the gun at her, and then she watched Lily. I mean, I can't even
Well, Lily
imagine.
kind of saved her, right?
I think so.
I think she did too.
Because it says like a brave hand like grabbed. Like,
Yep,
Yeah.
she tried to grab the gun. Yeah.
And now she feels like she didn't protect Lily when she should have.
I was getting those tummy feels when she was talking about, well, I can't get a hold of her.
I know,
I
me
know,
too.
I
But I
was
text her, I'm like, oh,
I know,
you
me
so
too.
much.
Same. I knew, but I didn't think it'd be that. I
No.
didn't think this scene
I
at the
think
very
that's why
beginning would
she
be
takes
Lily.
guilt though, because she was like, I knew a third thing was coming.
Oh yeah,
Grandma June warned me.
But you know what? That my grandma said the same thing.
A lot of people
My
believe that.
dad
Things come in threes, so that's really. I wonder where that came from.
I'm literally stupid. I was reading the scene and I was like, why does it sound so familiar?
the first scene. But then when you put it in Lily, like, oh my gosh,
I forgot about that. I read the excerpt and I was like, wow, but then I was reading that. I was like, this sounds so familiar. Did I see this in a review? Wait a minute.
Am I going crazy?
One thing I wanted to bring up was like when you were talking about how she started the fight with Travis's mom. She said she's like, it felt better to be angry than to be grieving.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like,
Yeah.
I felt it in my soul.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. Because we like, I guess in American culture we just avoid it.
I think we do because I think grieving is acceptance, isn't it? Grieving is accepting it, and that's the last thing you want to do.
We watched, or I watched, it was an HBO show, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about a family who ran a funeral home. And in one of the seasons, it was one of the main guys, his wife passes away. And he was never okay with how people, not judging anyone, I've not experienced it, but how people, you go to a funeral, quiet cries, and everybody, you do the respectful thing. You don't make a scene, all those things. And he was never okay with that. And he always made a big deal. So he ended up, anyways, he had her funeral on his own. And he went and got a breccia. They went out to the desert and he buried her there. And this guy, what a great actor. I mean, he mourned, like how they do in the Bible, where he was just beating his chest and moaning and wailing and screaming and why. And I felt like maybe a true representation of what people feel on the inside, but he let it out. But in the show, they talk about he was better for it instead of trying to like get in there, stuff it in, suppress it.
I think that's a lot of our culture, right? We just don't make a scene, and
be normal.
Maybe taking spirituality out of everything has possibly hurt us, because if you think not really much afterwards, you have a different perspective on death. You know what I mean? I feel like because some cultures and some religions, death is, yes, it's sad, but it's not that sad, because it's like, well, no, this is a good thing. They're going on to the next world, and they're gonna
like Lily, the fire will burn for her forever.
And she's on third day. She's gonna learn about this new world, this new place, this new adventure. I'm sure that changes your perspective a little bit on
I think so.
Death itself. It's really sad, though.
It's really sad.
Hopefully, she'll be okay mentally. Our daughter.
Closure.
Her name means daughter, right?
Her middle name.
No. Her first name means daughter. Her ex-boyfriend called her by her middle name.
Yes,
because he felt like a perv when he was calling her daughter.
Yeah. I didn't like those little parts where it's like.
So did you notice the time frame though? I'm thinking this is like 90s. This her time frame.
When it's written?
Just the different things they're talking about, like the songs on the radio and the way they're dressing, and going. What concert did they go to?
But didn't somebody say?
I'm guessing. I have no clue.
Someone said to Lily, they were like, at one point in time, said, "Oh, goth is so 90s."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they did.
So
no, but I got that vibe too.
That one song is playing.
When?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's like a very recent song by Upcat. But it's very modern. Very modern.
I remember being like, I know that song.
So maybe it's just Lily. That's her vibe then.
Yeah. Who was it? Lily was trying to put on, and Levi was like, "Don't play weird music."
Oh, Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah,
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, I think that's what.
But yeah,
she's and then how she was dressed. It's so sad though too when they went to go see her at the wake or whatever, and she's like, she didn't have any of her black eyeliner on. They got pink cheeks on her, and
that's not her.
But I even think, there again, I think it's easy to be in denial and not see the body in the casket. I remember when Gigi passed away, Brianne and my grandma, Brianne and Chelsea, my cousins, they went and did her makeup, and they dressed her and made sure she looked beautiful. And you know, I couldn't go. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I thought maybe I should have.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to face these things more. And my mom, I think, was a little, it took her back. Like she didn't know if she liked it, you know, because I think that's hard. But it was a beautiful thing they did for her. You know, their mom had passed away from cancer.
Wow.
And they did it for her. So it's like, I think, like you said, those things are just not as common or accepted as they should be, probably. Everybody has to grieve their own way.
Yeah.
But I think accepting it, seeing it, is probably good mentally, right? And emotionally to help process it. Although Donna saw her die too. So that's, you know,
I don't think she
was not in denial.
No,
but that struck me, like she was sitting there in the way that Lily's grandma, I forgot again.
Grandma
June, I was, you know, is you know, she's like, I'll be her oak tree or whatever. I love that. Their relationship is so cute.
Sad.
She does a lot of that though, because she does a lot of that for her mom too.
She does.
Because her mom's like, "How you doing?" She's like, "I'm fine."
But then her mom took care of her too.
Her mom did.
So I like that. I like that a lot. You know.
I'm having trouble like envisioning her mom and how do you pronounce her main character's name?
I say Donis.
Donis. That's how I say it.
I can't. I have a hard time processing them as like their features being white because she's very racial, so she's very pale, and her mom's white. So I'm having a hard time visualizing.
Yeah.
How I saw it in my head was that she had very Native American features, but she was pale. That she looked white.
But she's
like
6 feet.
Think of what
She's 6 feet, which I think is cool. I think that's cool,
American.
you know. And she's obviously a great athlete. You know.
Well, she talked about how she has
She has
broad
a big
nose,
nose. She has
like
big
her dad
lips.
did. But she made note of how on her face it's too big, whereas on her dad's face it suited him.
But that might be just her perception too, though.
I think so too. Not accepting yourself either. Not being enough of either one.
I really hope by the end of the book she really just accepts herself and people accept her.
I think that's one
her
reason
aunt
she's
is
doing
awesome.
it, right? At the end, she's going to be in the investigation. She's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for my people and for me and for Lily. And so I think that's what it's going to be about.
Kind of reminded me of the Memory Man.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah, why don't you join the? Why don't you go ahead and join this team of investigators?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like I'm all.
I thought it was interesting that she was a person of interest.
She was the number one on the list for a hot minute.
So
I would have been offended too, though. Like, really?
In that science lab.
Well, and I just love her character. How she's kind of like a nerd, and she'll literally,
oh my
she'll say like, Jamie's features are a good anatomy lesson or something like that.
I like when she said, she was like, when Lily was like, "See you later, alligator," and she was like, "In a while, a crocodile is," or whatever. Yeah.
And I thought it was funny too. And she was like, "I couldn't help but look at his back for science."
See, this is good science, not like our last thing where it's like, whatever.
Sounds.
Yeah, I really like her character. I think it's really.
She's awesome.
She's just is so real and genuine and easy to relate to. I feel like in myself, I feel like there's two parts to me a lot of the time. Obviously not in this way, but I feel like finding that place of belonging is really hard for a lot of people, and it makes me really emotional. So I'm not gonna talk about it. Yeah, I relate to her.
I do too.
Aren't those the best kind of books that you can find something that you can relate to and maybe grow a little bit with the character? Hopefully, you know, I feel like that maybe is the goal for every book. You know, maybe I'll change a little bit. Maybe I'll get a little bit better, a little bit wiser.
Maybe I'll see myself a little differently. Right?
I think I steal personality traits from books. So sometimes I'm like, I love this
stop
character.
acting like her.
So I wonder how long it's going to take her to trust Jamie. Right?
And fall in love with Jamie and fall in love with Jamie.
Because I loved their relationship. They went running together. They were just real. He went and met her grandma.
But doesn't it seem a little suspicious? He just jumped right in, like let's run together every day. I just met you. Let's run together.
Well,
every
no, I
day.
think
And
that
then
was
give
what
me the
she was
tour of
the
town.
ambassador. That
yeah,
was the
that's
culture.
the
Yeah.
training. That's the training for them.
Yeah.
It's his job too. I
I
mean, he
know.
had to
I'll just be
infiltrate.
mad at him for a little bit.
Okay.
I won't forget him.
That's
I
fair.
like him a lot. I'm not mad at him. I'm like, well, you need to hurry up and realize that he is that way, and you're just mad. I know she's mad. She has a right to be mad.
We'd probably all be mad. You feel betrayed.
Oh yeah.
You know, the minute she
Because
saw
she
him leaning
told
over
him-
Lily's body, she was like, "This is not Jamie's not what I thought
Well,
he
and
was."
he was in sync with her because he's like, I know what you're gonna ask. Just let's get out of here. Let me get you to the house. We'll talk about it. And he's like, I'm an undercover cop because she just wouldn't quit.
I wish I had picked that up quicker. He was like, as soon as he heard the gunshot or like the fireworks, he like went down on the ground.
Yeah, he did. I
could not
wondered that
connect
too.
it.
I thought,
I
that's
didn't
a
get it
little
either. I'm
weird.
not that smart
I
until
wish
he
I
said
picked it up.
Because she didn't either until
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah, I thought he had just been through something traumatic.
Mhm.
That's what I thought too.
For some reason, I thought he was in the
Because
military.
the scar. They
Yeah.
keep talking about the scar. So I thought, well, maybe something with the scar.
Like she said he lives in bad neighborhoods. That's what I thought. I was like, oh yeah, that
And he's
makes
like,
sense.
danger
Sure.
happens anywhere. That's what he said, right?
Very cop-like.
Yeah. Okay,
You're never safe. You need me here.
You know what I hate? I hate TJ.
Don't even talk about
Yeah.
TJ.
I loved when she
He
said,
is yucky.
he said something, oh, you got a problem with like police? And she's like, yeah, I do. And inside, he's like, oh.
He was mean. What the heck? He
Oh,
was
TJ?
gross. Yeah. Just totally ignored her. Got what he wanted. Said, see ya.
I like
I'm
what she
sure
said
there's something
Guy
about
Raz.
that, though.
I think so.
I think
too.
there's something about that. Are we going to predict?
Are we gonna predict anything? Is TJ bad? Is it how high does this go?
Oh my gosh! What if he's the meth dealer
Mm-hmm.
or the
Or we
meth
just
maker?
want him to be because we don't like him.
I want him to be.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hope Levi's not involved at all.
Oh, please. He's so like
That was
innocent.
like
He feels
the
innocent.
first thing I thought of.
Was it? I mean, you
Was
sit here and
Levi.
think, oh, he
So
can't be
Levi.
that, but then Lily got murdered. So you know, I think anything's up for grabs, right?
I wonder
But
how
her uncle knew someone, right? He knew who it was. That's why he was killed.
he had a suspicion
He
of who
said
it was.
he has
Yeah.
to make sure it's.
And he was not
Real.
going to tell them until he was
100%.
It was
sure.
a student, so it could have been TJ, right? Because TJ is the same age as
Is
Donna.
he? But
I
he's
don't
a
know.
cop now.
I don't know.
I thought TJ was,
He was
older.
playing
For some
college
reason.
ball. He was playing college football, but when?
Oh, that's true. She
Oh, he's
said.
old.
So, I mean, how long has this investigation been going on?
Okay, you're right. So maybe that'll come
Possibly.
out later.
And it would make a lot. Well,
But he did quit playing football at the university and came back to be a
He
police
did.
officer
He did.
in his old town. And most people,
Don't do that.
you want to get out. If you're out, you're out.
But I think that also has to do with the cultural part of
Mm.
it. Like be a part of that community.
Yeah,
'cause
that's true.
I'm trying to think. Okay. So her uncle that died was her mom's brother?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say it's his nephew, but. So, like, that's why he wouldn't be 100% sure. But even if Levi's not his nephew, he knows that it's his niece's brother. So he's still going to want to be like, I can't say anything about this guy until I'm 100% sure because he's kind of.
Which is
family.
just goofy. You are not a cop. You do not need to be 100% sure.
I guess yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
the
a
cop's
police
I-
job.
officer.
You
felt
say,
like that
I
was pretty-
suspect this
That's
person.
pretty dangerous.
Which is
Because
Yeah.
the people
why.
they were dealing with,
Why he died.
But that's why it would
they
make
said that.
sense.
Hey,
if
so
it
they
was
staged that
Levi.
whole thing. That whole thing was very police-like staged,
What-
right? When they found him 2 weeks later, the uncle, he was in his car then, right? Some kind of accident. He had a bottle of
He
alcohol next to him, but when they ran the toxicology,
It was
he
meth
OD'd on
overdose.
meth, and that was her family secret, was that they didn't talk about that. So it wasn't just
Yeah, 'cause she didn't know it was
he'd
meth.
been sober for 13 years, and drank once and DUI or whatever.
I also really appreciated her thoughts and memories of Travis, like how much he changed.
Yeah.
And then she realized it was the meth.
So
It
very
was so sad, but I love that perspective because you just want to hate him,
Yeah.
right? You want to hate him, but he wasn't healthy.
But
He
you
wasn't okay.
can't.
And I think
I can't hate him. I can't. I hate what he did, but meth is.
I wonder what made him just lose it then. Though.
Special meth. It's special meth.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah,
And
right,
he was,
it is
he was
special meth.
drinking it at the
Mhm.
powwow.
Oh my
They
gosh.
knew,
thank
yeah.
you.
But I
They
think there
definitely
maybe
knew.
something set him off.
I wonder if
I don't
Jamie
know.
feels
I mean,
guilt
I don't know
because
much
he
about
saw
that.
Travis. He knew, and he let Lily walk away. Like, you're a cop, dude.
think
I guess
sometimes
he
he
couldn't
has
blow
to,
his
right?
cover. But
That's the
that
hard
makes me
part.
kind of mad. Like,
Like he could have done something.
why didn't
Something,
they follow
'cause
him at least?
But
But
then
also, this had happened before.
Yeah,
But
and
that's
different
what
tribes would say,
Donis
right?
no, that's what Donis was saying. It's the Lily and Travis show.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah,
she
back
said
and forth.
Travis had never looked like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
She said that a
That's
couple
true.
of times.
Well,
Travis,
something
and she
she
kept
talked about his
testing her,
gums and
and she
everything. It
kept
was bad.
testing her, and that he was doing it right then. They saw it in his drink. So I feel like Jamie had to know it was coming, but
But
I
he
guess she
couldn't
can't
do
blow
anything.
cover. Yeah.
Because it's bigger than Travis.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what they
right.
said.
Well, his mom was the meth queen of town.
Yeah.
But it's bigger than her as well. That's what they said. I think it's a hate crime. Someone
Against meth?
outside the tribe
Oh.
is bringing it in.
That's why I'm saying it could be to do with like the casino and the money. Might have something. I mean, it might go crazy.
Because he said it's not just this area, right?
It's
They
other
mentioned
tribes
Canada
and stuff
and
as well.
other places in the U.S.
It is interesting because this is about meth, and that's also we just started the final season of Breaking Bad, which is the whole show is they're making and selling meth. So I'm like, okay, is it gonna be like a big scale lab like they had, or like what kind of equipment are they using? Based on, it's interesting to like see what knowledge I have about meth from that show, and then like it'll be interesting to see how it comes into play in here.
Did they say that Travis was cooking too? I think he
He
was.
was.
I
He
think
was.
so.
Yeah,
Think he was.
but then because she said, well, the Travis
So you
has
don't.
only been doing that for a couple of years, and so
And it's been longer than
it
that.
was before.
I found it interesting that Jamie kept saying she wasn't safe.
He said we've got to go
You
now,
can't stay here now.
and
Did
that
he-
makes no sense.
Yeah, it didn't make. That's
It
the
makes
part
no
that didn't
sense.
make
So
sense
there's
to me.
something wonky.
So
Because
why
even
did
if he's a cop, and even if someone died right there, there's no reason why she would have to get to her house. I got to get you to your house. I got to get you out of here and to your house.
Yeah. So what was that? That was the one thing I was like, that's
Maybe
a
that
little
was
strange.
personal because
Because
she's already wrapped up in this because of her uncle.
but he's a cop. She was a witness. Like you need her.
He likes her.
Yeah, they made it sound like she wasn't part or even there.
Yeah, I think he didn't want her to be there, but that's
Yeah.
weird to me. It's
That
kind of
was awkward. Yeah.
Because he had her lie to the local police.
He did.
That's what I'm saying.
Her stinky ex-boyfriend. That's what TJ. That's
Watch
what I see
TJ
in
saves the day, and you're all gonna feel sad. No,
I hate
No.
TJ. I will not
I don't know
change.
much about him. I
that.
don't
He's
know
just her
enough.
stinky ex-boyfriend.
Well, we knew that
Stinky
what he
gross.
talked her into bed and then said "see ya"
Yeah,
and ignored her.
They
So
He didn't
do
even
it
say
a little
see
while.
ya.
I
He
felt
just
like
ghosted her.
Ghosted her.
he
think it
did
was a
ghost
month.
her. Yeah,
I think it was a month,
yeah.
and then he just.
No,
That's
I thought
enough
it
to know.
was 2 months.
Oh, was it that long? Okay.
Right? She said 2 months before they started snagging.
Yes, snagging.
See, and
That's a
that's the
funny word.
terminology too, because that is very 90s.
It is.
That's
I
why I
like
was like,
that,
this
though.
is.
I think it's funny. And she was like, I don't even know if Jamie knows what that is. The new kid.
It was
He's not
very
even
sad
a kid.
to see her get the text from Lily when she checked
Oh
her
my
phone.
gosh.
Oh,
I
when the
can't
reception
imagine.
came back and it all flooded her phone.
And when she opened her phone and wrote a text to Lily.
Oh my gosh, I almost started
And she might
crying.
continue to do that. I feel like that might be a good thing for
Might
her.
be a good thing for her to do.
A lot of people do
We
that,
just
don't they?
jumped right back
Yes.
into another tearjerker.
But it's good for us.
It
'Cause
doesn't
this
feel
gives
as
us
heavy,
conversations.
right? It doesn't feel as heavy as A Woman Is No Man yet. I think it's just a different way for me.
Yeah.
Like it's a different way. I love the culture part, like you said, the grief, the 4 days, those kind of things.
That's
are really
super
cool.
duper interesting.
I think the difference is like, I don't know. I view Donis. She's like powerful to me. When I
Right.
view her, she has all this power behind her,
Mhm.
and she's just trying to find where to use it.
Okay.
That's why, because she wants to make a difference. She wants to be doing this, and she's so powerful, and she just doesn't know where to put that energy. That's how I feel. That's what I'm picking up on. Because like she said, she wants to be a doctor and do research that benefits the tribe.
And I think that's the difference, right? Ezra and them, they didn't have any power. They didn't have any
No,
options.
you're right. No, you're right.
And that's the difference, you know.
The cultures are just insanely different.
Well, and I think Israel just didn't have it in her. She
Yeah,
just didn't
I
have it
mean-
in her though to stand up. She couldn't
What's
stand
her
up to
name?
her own mom, or it just wasn't in her to let alone save her own self.
The one that left.
Lily?
Sarah
Oh,
left.
Sarah.
So, yeah, I guess she just didn't find it in her. But she did at the end.
She didn't.
But then she died.
Yeah.
She didn't die.
She got murdered. Sorry, she got murdered. She did not die.
There's a difference.
One part I actually really, really enjoyed was when they were dancing, and she was describing it to Jamie. Like,
Me too.
it was so like I don't know. We were like kind of poetic, just because it was also like it was so smart. She's like the molecules.
Oh, I love that. The
And it
way
was
she
like,
described. Yeah.
Have you ever been to a powwow?
No.
It's pretty interesting. So you can find stuff I'm sure on Instagram too where people do like Native American dance and stuff. Or have you seen like I think it's the New Zealand guys or the Samoan guys, they do is it the haka? I mean that stuff you'll feel it here. It doesn't even matter, just watch something on YouTube and there's something about it. It's very, very, very powerful. Very supernatural. It's wacky.
Yeah, she even talked about it. She's like, you can feel it in your feet.
You feel the drum beat. Yeah.
And I love how she was talking about with her aunt sewing one bell on her dress every day,
Yes.
365 days, 365 lessons.
There's
really
just so
cool.
much.
There
so
is. And then
much to
every
talk
morning
about.
when she gets up, before
Oh
she
my
goes to
gosh,
run,
yeah.
she grabs a little bit of the.
I love that.
I love
They
that
called
too.
it something different, but then she called it tobacco that she would burn, and then she would say her prayers or list the
And she's
seven
not ashamed
grandfathers.
either. She
Because
did
she
it right
did
in
it
front
with
of Jamie.
Jamie, and he respected it, which I
Yeah.
liked. And
Well, he thinks that I think he really thinks it's interesting too because he wasn't around family, so he didn't get that culture. He wasn't able to, according to him, but who knows
Is that
what
his
the real truth
story?
is? Who knows? He's not even Native American. He's just no, I don't know. I don't know. I'll be mad at him for a while.
I'm too easy to forgive pretty boys in books.
He's got a big nasty scar.
Or too quick, not too easy.
Sometimes scars are cute.
It was weird that she was analyzing the scar too. Not weird, interesting, very scientific of her.
She's very.
So she was like, it's not puckering.
yeah,
So
you're
it's
right.
something old.
It's too
And
straight.
it wasn't
to
an
be-
accident.
Yep.
Her aunt said that too. It's too straight to be an accident. So someone cut his face.
Recently.
Yeah, because it was like it was a different color than it's supposed to be.
There's a lot going on. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I really, really, really like it. I can't predict anything because
I
it can
know.
go so many different ways. I think it's gonna be good no matter what way.
It's a very good launching pad, though. I felt like the author did a great job of like kind of setting,
Yes.
like creating the world and the setting, and then she's like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
That's how I
Going
felt.
now. Yeah.
Go.
Like
because
when we
now
got to
know.
the end, I felt like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I
And
know,
I
that's
think
why when you said that, I was like, "I feel my pain."
yeah. It's like we got to know Donis. Yeah, she kind of established everything. We met all the characters.
And I'm so sad because I loved Lily so
Me
much.
too.
I
And I
did
love them
too.
together. Yeah.
All the text she was sending about, I like how they call him JJ.
I like how she just like her phone charges her per text, so she does really
But
short,
this-
funny ones.
But this was important enough to
Yes,
pay money.
yes. Just per
To
text.
be like, tell me you lost your virginity, whatever.
I think that's why I thought it was older too, because the type of text. It was almost like each number. Remember, you'd have
Well,
to
she said,
scroll
wait,
through every
yeah,
letter to
no
get the one you
yeah.
wanted.
She said that Levi had his new fancy phone with a full keyboard. So
Yeah.
maybe it's like early 2000s.
Well, it might be because maybe they're living like on the reservation.
right,
Everything's
yep.
a little
Oh,
bit
yeah,
behind.
maybe.
So remember, did you guys watch Napoleon Dynamite?
No.
And I'm like, okay, the setting is so old. No, it's just that town. It's just behind
Oh,
California.
maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That might be
It was
it.
interesting. That's why I was thinking too when you guys said, no, it's new, it's now. I'm like, okay, there's gotta be a reason.
So are she on like a whole reservation?
I don't even know if it's a reservation.
There's an
now.
island
I don't
she
think
goes
it's a
Oh, she just
reservation.
goes to the reservation, so she doesn't live on
I
it.
don't know if it's a reservation at all.
I don't
Because I don't think they've used that word.
Really, it's
It's
just like
native owned
it's just
land.
a community.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's because
I
they
think
live
so.
as a community.
Okay.
It might be a reservation. I don't know.
I don't know if they've
I don't
used it
think so.
once. The word.
They have not.
They have not.
So
I find it
But would
interesting.
they
There's a
use the word?
dorm named
That's
after
interesting.
her family at the
Mhm.
college.
true.
It's very
Right.
crazy. So really, both sides of her family are famous in one way or another.
And then they mentioned
stand out.
her what?
Her-
She has money. I forget the word.
Oh, her trust fund, yeah.
She has a trust
I was
fund.
like, where? What?
yeah.
Since
So
when?
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you were
From
gonna bring
who?
up
I
her
wonder.
Yeah, that's what I was
Is
like.
that from her grandpa, her famous grandpa on her white side?
because he owns
Because
the,
he's got his name on the building. Must be.
Must be.
Because she's not.
I thought it was crazy how her grandpa didn't let her dad work because he knocked up.
Well, yeah. I thought it was sad because they made the decision. They're like, she can't have that last name. They had the whole control.
She was 16.
That's true. I forgot she was.
She wasn't,
but
an
they just
adult.
didn't think about the consequences of
Or they
her
did.
identity
They were
crisis
angry.
she's gonna have.
Or they did, and they didn't want an Indian grandma.
I think, I think
And
that's
she's-
what it was exactly.
They didn't want.
I think that's what it was again. I think you're right.
Because she said.
I'm sure we're
she
going to
said they
read
did
about
not
a
like
lot of
them.
prejudice in this book
Yeah.
too. Because her Aunt Teddy, her 2 daughters are half black, half native.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll, and remember they were talking about how they have Donis go over the border to buy things
Yeah, they do.
because she's not harassed, because she looks white.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she had went over with her daughters and her husband, and the guy pulled a gun in front of the girls, in front of the wife. Yeah, it was a big deal because he must be half, because he's part in his own tribe. Al, he was a fire. What are they called? He was a firekeeper in his tribe, so they had similar jobs. So he was able to take over that job once he married Teddy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There is.
But it doesn't feel crazy, and
No, it
it's
seems
just
very
feels-
real life.
Yeah. And it's organized chaos right now,
I like it because there's a lot of details, so you can't really guess yet.
Mhm.
That's kind of the worst thing if you get in the middle and you already know.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like those are
That is the
different
worst.
zones.
Yeah,
I feel like it might be like Crawdad's book, or the last page. Oops.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
Do you know
book.
what?
I know.
I think that was my favorite part of the book.
That's
Was
literally
that the part I hated the most,
Mhm.
and I loved it
Yep, me too. That was
because
such
I'm
a
like,
shock.
what? No.
I love that part. That made the whole book.
It
for
did.
Me.
It was
Me
amazing.
too.
I was
Yep.
like, I felt closure. Like he finally knew, and he wasn't gonna tell. He was like, okay.
Well, she was dead.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, no one knew.
No one knew.
We didn't know
he didn't
either.
even know. I'll bet he suspected, but he didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
I bet he was glad either way. But yeah, this could be one of those.
I think so.
I mean,
I'm
even
excited
Lily's
about it.
murder was kind of what?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, it was
What?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she even said Travis isn't going to do anything around so many people, but he did.
That was the part where I texted and I had to start dinner. I just read that murder scene, and I was like, I gotta fix dinner.
I thought you were at the end of
No,
the
not
reading
yet,
and got
not
there.
yet.
Well, I figured that out today when you said I just finished.
I had to go to work, and I had just finished when he dropped her off at her mom's house after.
I did all
Lily
my
got
reading
shot.
in one day.
I did it
From
in
start to
10
I did
finish.
too, actually. 'Cause I
Yeah,
did
this
not
one's
make
gonna be
time.
hard to keep,
I
just
know.
like
Oh, no,
not
I
go
did
the
it.
whole
I did it in
freaking thing.
But I did wait till Monday to start though, because I knew I have a problem.
Well, we could potentially, if we really love it, we could split the next. Well, we'll get there.
If we want to try for all of
I don't, you work full time. I
Yeah,
don't
let's
want to
not
stress
put
you out.
pressure, yeah.
Let's keep it the way it is.
Then also we could have more episodes.
That's true.
I did have one little fun question that I thought was interesting.
I
Unless
love
it went
that.
away. Just question time. So it's not really even a question. Plus, I probably shouldn't have read this summary. That was dumb.
Oh no! Spoiler alert.
I think we did discuss this already. Donis is someone who has a lot of traditions and rituals, both formal and informal. Discuss the significance of her various rituals and how, I don't think they wrote this right, how they inform her life and give structure to her day. So we did talk about every morning
The run she does.
and
her-
the 7 grandfathers and her prayer, and I think that was interesting. But then running. So remember when Lily passed, she hadn't run
Yeah.
since the day before, or from that morning, and how different she felt, and
And her what dress?
she needed to
She's
run
like-
her pumpkin dress,
Her pumpkin dress.
her
yeah,
pumpkin
her
dress,
dress,
pumpkin
yeah,
dress.
and
She's
her
me, I
and
would
her
just eat.
naughty shoes.
Her FU
But
shoes.
she wore them because that
did.
was her
The
connection.
connection.
Oh,
Which I love.
Me too.
And I love how
I
she,
don't
like,
think anybody
picked
knew
them
that
off.
about the shoes but her,
yeah.
which was
Which
really
was
kind of cool
really cool.
and probably odd for people like,
Why is she wearing
She's like,
clothes?
she's like, they're no longer
And she's
FU
already-
shoes, they're FU shoes.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love
so
that.
much.
I
Yeah.
love how she like ran off the pathway to like put the stuff in her
I could see
shoes.
her running too. with that dress running towards the mom. I'm gonna bring the. You're gonna die now. I really felt like she
Or
was almost
Levi and Jamie
stalking
did too.
over there.
Yeah,
You know what
she
I
couldn't
mean?
control her emotions. Yeah, I also loved. It was interesting because she watches Lily get murdered, right? And Travis pull the gun on himself. And then she sees Jamie and she's like, Jamie's not who I thought he was. And then she's running away and Jamie's keeping up and passing her. And there's another thing. She's like, he was holding back on me. He even lied about that. Yeah. You know, it's like, man.
Everything was a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys' lies. Is that what she calls them?
Guys'
lies.
I love that. I think it's. And I like how she says out loud to Jamie, even though he has no idea what she's talking about. She's like, you got first prize for guy lies.
I also love. There was something else she said. She thought she was saying in her head, and she said out loud because he responded to her thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing.
That was when she was saying he needs to say that he made it all up.
Yeah, yeah. And he's like, I didn't make it up. She's like, I must have said that out loud. Yeah. So I just love how raw she is. She's so raw.
That is such a good word.
Yeah, she's so raw, and I relate because that's, you know,
I love her.
I know.
We're in for a ride for sure.
I think it's gonna be so good.
Me too.
This might take number 2 spot
Probably.
under Crawdad, or
I
maybe
feel like,
Cayenne.
unfortunately, I don't think Lily and Travis are going to be the only ones.
No, I don't
I think
so.
there's going to be more.
Oh,
Yeah,
so-
just based on what they've said, I think it's going to get real big.
I hope that would you rather? Okay, if Levi is going to be something, would you rather him be the bad guy or be killed?
Be killed.
Hopefully nothing,
Right?
right?
Killed. I'd
Yeah.
rather him be killed.
Would
because
you?
then he was innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope
Well,
I hope the
it is
nieces don't come into
interesting.
play.
How Jamie hooked up with Levi. There's got to be a reason for that, right? I mean,
Well,
why?
maybe because that was his way to
Possibly,
her. But I
possibly.
wondered that too because he did hook up with
Because
Levi.
Levi might be on that list
He
too.
might
I mean,
be.
they didn't talk about who else was on that list of,
She didn't ask. I wonder if that's going to come to her mind that Levi.
They'll be dumb. They're like, we want all your help, but we're not going to tell you anything.
But the thing is interesting to me is meth changes you. So wouldn't she see it in Levi? Wouldn't you see it in someone?
Yeah.
You don't have to
Unless
be,
he's distributing.
Well,
it.
he
You don't
might
have
be
to
smart
be,
enough because he
because,
wants to play.
Sorry to go back to Breaking Bad, but that show is literally about meth. The main character, Walter White, he's the chemist.
Yeah.
He makes the best meth anybody's ever seen, and he's never done meth in his life. You don't have to do it.
So you
to
can
make
distribute it and make it, but not.
I thought you can, if you make it, you get secondary high.
They wear
The NH.
yeah.
So yeah, I think Levi. I hope no more, trauma comes to her family.
Yeah, I mean.
But I'm wondering about the
somebody else,
nieces.
right?
Like, are they going to come into play? And
That's what
Well,
she
they're
says
so
at the
young.
very end of our reading too.
Like, you think they're in danger?
maybe how big is this? If they killed their,
Because how old are they? 9.
They're little. I think.
Well,
they're
Well, I
not
just
that
mean
young.
that would be a way to get to Donis.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
You think like for ransom?
Yeah, or if they find out. Yeah.
I love the relationship she has with her nieces.
It's very cute.
I couldn't figure out my Perry. Who's Perry? Perry? Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl's nickname is Perry.
Yeah.
What a cute crack up. Yeah. Took me a while. I'm like, what they were girls? I'm confused.
I thought Perry was a boy.
Me too. That threw me for a loop.
Is there 3 of them? Where is it?
That she makes good pancakes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think it's.
She messed them up. They're alien pancakes.
Yes. Because she was
I think it's a reflection of her relationship with her aunt. So like she's so close with her aunt, and she's so close with her nieces. She is that kind of figure to them, their auntie.
Well, she's kind of her touching stone for the community.
Yeah.
Is her aunt.
Yeah, I agree.
Because her dad's passed.
Mm-hmm. But didn't she say there are even some times with her aunt where she knows it's like I can't imagine.
Well, you
that.
would think, her mom, so talking about Donis's mom, in their eyes, destroyed her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure there's feelings, and they probably don't come out at the best times, but I'm sure there's some kind of resentment or whatever. So that's probably why she can't feel the closest,
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a piece of trash too.
Good dad.
Yeah. I when you got 2 kids, 2 baby mamas, and they're what, 3 months or 7 months apart?
3.
Yeah, yuck.
Yeah.
Sometimes that girl wins. I loved when it said that. I was like, oh.
Wow.
Well, she won't be that girl now. Whatever, Jen.
Well, Jen
Jen doesn't
sure.
exist.
Jen's fake.
Yeah.
So.
But she's mad at him.
I thought Jen was just a dumb name to pick. Like
She even analyzed what they called her Jen, not Jenny.
I know.
It was cute. It was cute.
She
Actually,
said
it made
Jennifer's
sense.
too formal.
Yeah,
and Jenny's
She
too
really
cute.
liked him early. That's
She
why
did.
she's spending
It
all
was
that
like
time.
I think sometimes isn't that how it works? Like there's an immediate attraction.
She said she needs to be real to me, so I am not that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even her aunt was like, yeah, get with Jamie, go live a good life.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, he has a girlfriend. Go have a good life with Jamie. I mean, they were already putting them together.
so next week is chapter 28 through page 262.
Yeah, marked. I'm ready to go.
That's at like the middle chunk.
Printing error.
Yeah, part 2 was so long. I was kind of bummed that we had to divide it up, but hopefully that'll work.
I think it will.
Of course, I haven't read it, so I don't know where it stops there. We all might be mad next week.
Okay, so we
We're
stop.
gonna be like, oh my gosh.
So we don't read. We read through chapter 28, but stop at 29.
I think so.
262 is your last page.
All right. Well, I guess we will see you next. What is our posting date?
Saturday.
Next Saturday. We are gonna read through chapter 28 through, and then stop at 262. Check us out on Instagram, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts at the Lit Ladies Book Club. I am Abby.
I'm Emily.
I'm Miriam.
I'm Holly.
And we will see you next week.